Well, hello there. It's nice to see you back here. We have a lot to discuss. This is an introduction to projection proper, and there is very good reason why I say so. Today is not. Why do I say projection proper? Because there are unapparent things behind projection. In fact, when I started my inquiry 20 years ago, maybe longer even, um, I thought that there must be some hidden things in projection. If it's a principle, it is a most hidden principle. It's not very, very obvious. But I did start amongst other things that I was wondering about, I had this conjecture in my learning of many things. I made this one up. And it is this. Is it conceivably possible that the principle of projection, then undiscovered, holds good for all observers within a dimension of consciousness? If so, how would that be possible? I had no idea what I was letting myself in for. The inner path of the soul, the path of each human being, the path to knowledge. We don't hear this today very often, of this inner path to knowledge. We wonder why. In our psychologies today, everything is an epiphenomenon. One wonders, the inner path to knowledge. Shall we say the inward looking path? Because I will let you in a little secret. In all my learning, in all the things I've investigated, particularly of frames of reference, they all have one thing in common. No matter what they purport to describe, whether it's objective knowledge or just, so we say, the known, they all have this thing in common: looking. We will soon show, when we treat of sensible frames of reference, how this is true through long range time. A considerable dig, if I might say so myself. The inner path to knowledge is the path of the free thinker, the free inventor, the free discoverer, the freely thinking being. This pathway is an inner directed pathway, and its inner unapparent principle is projection. This is really no new knowledge. It's just that we haven't heard about it, which is the interesting part. But which is a giant discovery to me when I saw this in ancient works. We'll come to that. But what is the meaning of the inner pathway to knowledge? It's always, it has to do, the whole world has to do with looking. There's nothing in the world, there isn't a world that can happen, if I might put it like that, without any looking. Looking always is forming. It is I want to say, the characteristic of this psychology I'm talking about has a characteristic, and its characteristic is the perceiver former. The depths of the creative principle is here, right within your own looking. And we will show how this is the case in our further discourses. No doubt that this projection is a very tough investigation. Perhaps I venture to say it's far more tough than any differential calculus, even the highest of mathematical notions. I venture to say doesn't hold the candle here. I think that the most obvious thing that we can clearly see for ourselves when we look at the principles of our world, those principles that are captured on the shoulders of giants, that wonderful book from Stephen Hawking, which is a must for everybody to read, I think, just to get a good overview of this. Each principle discovered, like Newton's unification of terrestrial and celestial mechanics, it's a beautiful unifying work, but it's not the first. Similarly, Einstein's special relativity is a unifying work as far as electrodynamics and its subsequent discoveries of the theory of general relativity, which is his own unique discovery, and which we discuss a little bit of, because I'm not a mathematician, but there are some sections which we focus on in our 3 Einstein videos, which fundamentally touches on what we are here saying in our introduction to this very difficult to understand principle. For I thought that if it is, it's hidden, like I said. But where? Well, it's internally hidden. We can clearly see that the principles just mentioned, to name but a few, creates a new world experience. Our world isn't the same as it was in the world of Isaac Newton. We don't reject that world. That world still applies for ordinary frames of reference. And who lives the ordinary frames of reference? You and I. We will treat of that at the appropriate time. There are few things that I would like to say on our introduction to projection. They are these: time compression. This is what you experience when your inquiry gets more and more narrow to its summit, but your life moves on. Time compression. Vita brevis, says many. A short moment in time is a human lifespan. No time to waste here. No time for unforgiveness. No time for finger pointing, blaming others. No tomorrow. Today is what counts. Renewal is here today. Unfinished business, in short, is a rotten thing. And for some things, waiting till the last moment isn't a good idea. In the next place, vast doubting. The comparison with what I discover in relation to the interpretations is a very dangerous assessment. Why is it dangerous? Because it's easy to dismiss your discoveries while you're looking at the past and say, well, look at these beautiful things. It's the source of doubt. But on the other side of doubt is a beautiful new understanding, and it comes with practice and over time. Contemplation, solitude, these are important things, and they're all designed to let go of the obsessive compulsive behavior, is the only way I can put it, of the human ego to control his future, to control his reality. What are those things? Security, values, passionate beliefs, the automata, thoughtless, of which the ego is a part. This control must be given up and relinquished in this free discovery, the inner path to knowledge. This is the path of the advance of the human soul. And I am surely not first person saying this. There are many men through time, and we'll come to them, perhaps if we have time, touching across the divine immaterial worlds. There are many. And the external world is the work of the soul, who has that capacity to move through the perceiving boundary. And the interpretation from the past is part of this boundary that one has to move intellectually and psychologically for this kind of discovery. And establishing an internal projective bridge for discovery. This is our short introduction. We don't ask you to believe anything. We ask you to inquire for yourself. To establish in your own soul free notions, free ideas for your own, through your own discovery. There's no discovery that's too big or too small. And every human being has that capacity within to do that. To be loving, to be forgiving, to be kind to others, and to do the things that we have to do with tenacity, forgiveness, and perseverance. Until next time, be safe and be kind to yourself and others.